Now, you're the coach, you're in class, and it's time for you to perform. What are you actually doing on a moment by moment basis, every second in the class? What is your objective? Well, it's very simple. You're either to redirect the students towards the direction of your conversation or validate the students who are following the directions of your conversation. You listed out the conversation very simply when you labeled everything and you told the students what the flow is going to be and the skill categories and the effort. You gave them the script. And now all you need to do is redirect them towards that information or validate them for doing it. Now, redirecting is a touchy subject, okay? Because you might have one student that needs to be redirected or the entire class needs to be redirected. And it's a conflict. Most people are not comfortable with conflict. So the goal is to give you some tools to better understand how to manage conflict, all right? We're going to redirect a student. Now, why would we redirect a student? Well, we're going to redirect them when they have they're in the flow of, whether it's line, stations, or circuit, and they're doing it poorly. All right? They're weaving in and out of things they shouldn't be weaving in and out of. They're not paying attention when they're going down lines on the floor. They're standing in the line improperly, whatever it might be. They're not using the space appropriately to how you described it needs to be used, and so you're going to redirect them. The easiest way to redirect a person is to ask them a question. Hey, what are you doing? Then ask them another question. Do you think that's a good idea, or why do you want to do that, or get feedback so you can better understand them. This goes back to reading the room. Better understand them, and then propose a solution. Now, the solution might be, oh, I can totally see that looks like fun, but it's dangerous. This is off limits, so we're going to need to pivot what we're doing. I need you to get back on board with how we're doing it, okay? But maybe they have a really fun, creative way of doing something. You say, you know what, we could get to that in a little bit, but just right now is not the right time. And so what I found to use words is just saying it's not the right time oftentimes gets people on board. Well, when is the right time? Oh, the right time can be later. It can be next time. It can be in 5 minutes from now, but it's just not right now, okay? So poor flow. They're not following the format properly. They might actually be lacking effort. So now they're rolling down the wedge and they just look like noodles being tossed on a mat. It's like, there's no effort there. Okay, I need to redirect this effort. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to get into those kind of ways in a second, but you're going to need to redirect it. They're dangerous. They're pushing people, shoving people, they're knocking things down. They look like they're about to land on their head every time they jump in the air. They're dangerous. Okay, I need to redirect that as well. So how am I going to do that? Well, the fastest way to get control of your class is just to ask them to line up. You need to have a designated space where they line up, and all you just do is tell everyone to line up. Just like everyone freeze, line back up. Okay, that's how you're going to gain control the quickest, and this is gaining control as a group. But maybe you're just dealing with an individual. You don't want to make everyone line up, so you want to just have one individual. So you can ask them to start over. So the moment you catch them doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, and they need to be redirected, just call them over and tell them to start over. Just start over. That alone oftentimes allows them to see, oh, you see me, and what you say matters. And the more you ask a student to start over, the more all the other students start to learn that you're not afraid to ask them to do it again. Now, start over and do it again, not the same thing. Start over would be as if a student gets on the tumble track, they start to do something without your permission, you say, whoa, 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 get off the tumble track, start over. Do it again is when people are doing something and they're trying to meet expectations, and you just go, yeah, we were supposed to do 10, you did 10, but we're going to change it. We're going to do it again because I'm not really liking how the energy is in the room, or I don't really like the effort. We're just going to do the whole assignment again. So we're doing it again. This is like tumble track. Everyone goes tuck jumps down the tumble track, and you're like, okay, these are not great tuck jumps. Just everyone, we're just doing it again. Okay, this is another way of reinforcing that your words matter. And this is key to building your culture. You need to follow through with your words, your standards, your expectations, and you need to be very predictable in it. It should not be a surprise. So on this level, we're not trying to use surprises like, oh my goodness, I caught you randomly. We want to be predictable when it comes to enforcing or redirecting behavior. The last thing to do would be is reboot the entire system. And reboot the entire system would be literally be like, this is not working. Read the room again and be like, we need to pivot and we need to do something for the energy level of this group or the effort level of this group, and we're just going to readjust so that we can manage it right now, because right now is not manageable. And so there might be various other reasons why you need to redirect somebody, but for the most part, you're going to use one of those four options. You're either going to line everyone up, talk to them, tell the script or the story, you're going to start the student over, you're going to ask everyone to do it again, or you're just going to reboot the entire process. However, what if everyone's doing it right? What if they're doing a good job? Now, this is what I see often. The students who are doing the difficult job of just goofing off and being silly and they're being redirected, that's like the difficult one, those students tend to get a lot of conversation, a lot of interaction, and then the student who's doing it right just gets smiles. It's super important that the students who are doing what you're asking of them are getting more attention than the students that need to be redirected. So for every student that you have to redirect, every single time you have to speak about redirecting a student, you need to think about 3 times, 5 times more needs to go into validation. You need to lean heavier on the validation side. A student is following the flow. Good job for staying on task in the flow. Good job for using the equipment properly. Thank you for pushing through your arms. You're just trying to find reasons to validate. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for thinking about that. I saw that you tried. Whatever it might be, you're validate, 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 validate. Now why? Why do we care about validating? Okay, this is part of the magic of learning. The more you validate, the more you're connecting the brain to the action, and that creates an emotional response. More emotional responses on a positive level create stronger imprints in the memory of the brain to do it that way again. And so that's the reason why validation is important. It's not just doing the work, it's feeling validated while you're doing the work that is actually going to imprint the emotion onto the action that says, oh, I should do this. This feels good. This is fun. I like this. So that's where you get into sports psychology and all that negative self-talk. When people are doing things well, but they're talking bad about themselves, they're actually imprinting a negative emotion on top of an action that matters, and you got to work with all that messiness. And so this is the key of your value as an instructor, is to validate the students through the process. No matter what they're doing right, find something. There's always something they're doing right, and validate them as much as possible. You're going to find that those students are going to learn faster, they're going to grow quicker, and better yet, you're going to enjoy your class a whole lot more. And so that is the power of validating. Not every student is there. You redirect them so that you can eventually find something to validate them. And every single student, no matter how difficult they might be, is doing something that you can celebrate. You just have to look a little harder.